Good morning, everybody, and thanks for joining me for this first edition of Farm Bill Fridays with CFSA's Facebook Live feed. My name is Rochelle Sparko, and I am CFSA's Policy Director. This is my first time using Facebook Live, so please be gentle. I have a couple of requests of you all as we go through this process of Facebook Living. If I talk about a topic that you think is interesting, it would be great if you would give us a thumbs up so that we know that this is an issue that you care about. It may mean that we are more likely to include it as a topic in a future Farm Bill Friday Facebook Live feed. I would also ask that if you all have any questions for me as I'm running through these topics, that you type questions into the comments bar. I don't think that I'll be able to reply while we're still Facebook Live, but after we archive this video and post it to our Facebook page, we'll go through and answer all the questions in the replies. So what are we doing? We're talking about 5 things that we think that you need to know about the Farm Bill this week, and hopefully we'll continue this series through until we actually have a 2018 Farm Bill. I'm pretty sure we're not going to run out of topics. So what are the 5 things we think you need to know this week? We made a handout. Is it backwards? You can't see it. Hopefully it's not backwards. I will hold it up periodically until I hear from someone that it is. So the first thing that we think that you need to know this week is that the Farm Bill is expected any day now. So what do I mean when I say that? So the Farm Bill is first introduced by the chairman this year of the House Agriculture Committee. His name is Mike Conaway. He's a Republican from the state of Texas. And for a number of months, if not years, he's been working together with his colleagues in Congress, the president's policy team, the Agriculture Secretary Perdue, farmers and ag lobbyists to think about what should be different in this year's Farm Bill. And the kinds of things that they are hopefully taking into account are, what is or isn't working in the current version of the Farm Bill, how might they need to make alterations to it, and also the political landscape right now, as well as various funding constraints. So his draft, Congressman Conaway's draft of the Farm Bill, is often referred to as the chair's mark or the chairman's mark. And he will introduce that bill at some point. And at that time, the House Agriculture Committee will schedule some hearings where members of the Agriculture Committee will get a chance to weigh in on what's in the chair's mark and suggest some changes. After that, it'll eventually go to the floor in the House, and there will be a whole nother version of this on the Senate side. And I promise you, and I promise to make it as entertaining as possible, that we will have a Facebook Live feed for one of our Farm Bill Fridays talking about the process to get to a Farm Bill. If that sounds fascinating to you, give us a thumbs up so we make sure to talk about that sooner. If it sounds like the worst thing ever, wait till you hear something you like and give us your thumbs up. All right, the next thing that we think that you need to know about the Farm Bill, holding up my possibly backwards sign again, so you can see it, is that the Farm Bill sets policy and funding for agriculture and nutrition programs. Right, so every 5 years or so, the Farm Bill comes up, and it changes the face of the agriculture world, sometimes dramatically, sometimes not so much. How does it do that? It changes the programs that are included in the Farm Bill. They decide in Congress which programs to keep, which ones to change, and which ones to scrap. And they also make decisions about funding. So they may decide to prioritize different parts of the Farm Bill to receive more funding. They may decide to give what's called mandatory funding to a particular program, and they may decide to give discretionary funding to a particular program in the Farm Bill. We're gonna, again, in a future Facebook Live, Facebook Friday, talk a lot about funding and what the different types of funding mean for various programs, and what types of funding or what types of programs tend to get the higher priority funding and which ones tend to be put lower. If that sounds super interesting, give us your thumbs up. Let's see. So how was funding allocated in the last Farm Bill? I think this is pretty interesting, and it's actually pretty typical of modern Farm Bills. I'm going to hold up a little pie chart for you all. Even if it's backwards, you can get the idea. Sorry, something technological is happening.
See if we can flip it.
Oh, we're trying to flip it. I'll keep talking while we try to flip it. You can see from this chart, which is broken down into two pieces of the pie chart. The blue section of the pie chart are the nutrition programs that the Farm Bill funds, right? So we are setting policy and funding priorities for both nutrition programs and also for agriculture programs. You can see from this pie chart that the vast majority of the funding goes to those nutrition programs, that's the blue section, and that the ag programs are just under a quarter of the money that gets spent through the Farm Bill process. So that's important to know as we move into our third thing you need to know about the Farm Bill this week. Here's the chart again. The Farm Bill affects all farms, but it prioritizes the success of some farms over others. And that's where we're going to talk about this red section of our pie chart in a little bit more depth, right? This red section is, again, the funding that the Farm Bill allocates to agriculture programs. I'm going to hold this one up for you. Hopefully now it's the right way around. So this is breaking, nope, still not the right way around. So I'm going to talk, and even if it's backwards, hopefully the colors will help you to understand how Farm Bill funding breaks down, and we'll work this out for a future presentation. So what I would like to talk to y'all about is the fact that this pie chart represents just that red section, the agriculture programs in our previous pie chart. So almost half of the funding for the agriculture programs in the Farm Bill go to pay for crop insurance subsidies. And then we've got another 23% in red over here that go to subsidize commodity programs. This green section over here, just over a quarter of the Farm Bill's ag funding, goes to pay for conservation programs. And this tiny purple part right here, that's everything else. So research, every local food program that there is, are all in that tiny little purple section. Crop insurance is the largest section of that chart, the big blue section that was almost half, and the 23% of funding in the red section that went for commodity crops, right? Those represent funding that doesn't generally go to food producing farms. That's not 100% true, but by and large, most food producing farms, like fruit and vegetable producing farms, are not accessing most of that money. Most of the money that they're accessing is coming in that purple section, and also in the 28%, some of that conservation money is definitely going to implement conservation programs on small farms, mid-sized farms, big farms, sustainable farms, and conventional farms. So you can kind of get a sense, looking at this pie chart, how very much of the ag funding is being directed toward commodity programs, and how a relatively small portion of it is being directed towards farms that are growing fruits and vegetables, or doing like pasture-based livestock. Back to our Farm Bill Friday backwards thing. I guess I should stop holding it up. I'll just read it to you guys. So the fourth thing we think that you need to know this week about the Farm Bill is that CFSA is going to be on the lookout when the chair's mark is introduced in the House Agriculture Committee for points that impact our farmers, like local food, organic research, and supply chain supports. So whether the chair's mark is introduced today, which could happen, whether it's introduced next week or next month, we'll be taking a look really carefully to see how it will affect the farmers that we represent. Our goal here is, with these Facebook Fridays, Farm Bill Facebook Fridays, it's a lot of F's, is to make sure that we're talking to you all about what is in that Farm Bill, how it is likely to impact you as a farmer or as a food business owner, as a farm worker, or just as an eater, and hopefully encourage you to make some phone calls to members of Congress when the time is right, and when we think that you should be letting them know about something that's really great in the Farm Bill or something that you wish that they would change. We're expecting to see a Farm Bill that includes some really great things for the farmers that we represent. We're also expecting to see some pretty bad things for local agriculture. And so we just hope that you'll stay tuned to these Farm Bill Facebook Live feeds with us each and every Friday. so that we can give you a sense of what's going on and how you can make an impact. One other way that you can go ahead now and make sure that you stay in the loop, especially if being up and hanging out with us about wonky policy things at 9:30 on Friday mornings isn't your favorite, is that you can sign up for CFSA's action alerts. We will not tell you that the house or the barn is on fire if it's not. We try very hard to use those action alerts to let you know when there really is something that you can influence. You can sign up for action alerts on our website, or you can go directly to the link, which is bit.ly/AXN, kind of like action, alerts, ALERTS. Again, that's bit.ly/AXNALERTS. And if you check the box to receive federal action alerts, you will receive action alerts when we think there's something that you can do this year about the Farm Bill. So we do hope that you'll sign up if you haven't already. And we hope that we'll see you at next week's CFSA's Farm Bill Friday Facebook Live feed. And hopefully we'll have worked out the backwards handout glitches by the time we see you again next Friday. Thanks so much for joining me. And I am, one more time for people that joined us later, Rochelle Sparko, the Policy Director at the Carolina Farm Stewardship Association. Thanks again. We'll see you next week.